Hello friends, this is E.V. Ramana before you. Today we will be covering section 78 and 79 of your Transfer Property Act. Or in other words, it's called priority. If you recollect in section 48, there was something called priorities of your mortgage. Who gets the first priority in clearance of the mortgage money? In case the property is mortgaged to 3 or 4 persons, who will get the priority in clearing the money? This is an exception to that rule. 78 deals with postponement of prior mortgage. Let us understand this with an example. As usual, the slides which are put to you before you are for your reference sake. Now, let me go to an example to make it much for you to understand this better. Now, this is an example. Suresh is a mortgager and he is in need of money. Ramesh and Michael are two friends. Suresh has approached Ramesh and asked him a loan of 20,000 rupees. Ramesh has lent him a loan of 20,000 rupees on the mortgage property. Again, Suresh requires some more money. He approaches Michael. Both Ramesh and Michael are good friends. Michael comes and asks Suresh, is there any kind of charge on the property which Suresh is giving it to me? Ramesh says there is no charge on this property which he is giving it to you. You can absolutely lend money on this. In such cases, Ramesh is having a charge on the property. But in spite of this, he misrepresents. He plays a fraud on his own friend. So by his own conduct, he has put his right, postponed his right by his own conduct, by his own negligence, by his own fraud, by his own misrepresentation. So in such cases, the prior mortgage right will be put later, will be postponed. That is, Michael will have a first charge. This is the exception to the rule of priority. For the sake of convenience, I have put the link below so that you will see the rule of 48, rule of priority. Now let us go to the explanation part. Exception, this is called as rule of exception to the rule of priority, section 48, where I have given the link for your reference below. Then if any fraud, misrepresentation has been played, as Ramesh had played fraud on Michael, so Michael's right will prevail over Ramesh, even though Ramesh was first in line. Then priority mortgage is postponed. The prior mortgage, whoever had created the prior mortgage, that person's right will be postponed because of his own misconduct, fraud, or misrepresentation or negligent act. This is what is contained in section 78. Now let us move on to section 79. As usual, section 79 is for your reference. I will not go to the read the section for you. Section is for your reference. The things to remember is maximum amount is fixed already here, and this is has to be read with some technical points here. As usual, let us have an example so that it becomes easier for you to understand. Now, Ramesh is again a mortgager. Suresh is a mortgagee, and again a Michael is a mortgagee. Same example what we had taken for 78. Same thing, same names have been reflected here. Now, Ramesh requires money. He requires some money and he has gone to Suresh. And he has given his property as security basis to Suresh. And he says, I want 50,000 rupees on this property. So Suresh is willing to give him 50,000 rupees on the property. Now, when he lends him 50,000 rupees, Ramesh says, no, for the time being, you give me 20,000 rupees. Later, I will take 30,000 rupees. So he takes 20,000 rupees from Suresh. Then he approaches Mr. Michael. Ramesh approaches Mr. Michael. He requires another 10,000 rupees, he approaches Mr. Michael. Then Michael is aware of Suresh's transaction. In spite of this, Michael chooses to give him 10,000 rupees as loan on the same property. In such cases, now the law of priority, if you see section 48, it will say that Suresh has got first charge and second mortgagee is Michael. And later, what happens is, I have not completed the example still. Later, he comes back to Suresh. Once again, he says, you told me my property can give you 50,000 rupees. Maximum property which you have fixed is 50,000 rupees. Now, I want balance 30,000 rupees. So in these cases, what will happen? Now, if you take rule of priority into consideration, it will say Suresh was the first mortgagee. Then second mortgage, subsequent mortgagee was Michael. Then once again, Suresh became a subsequent mortgagee. Which rule will prevail? Now, by virtue of running account, by virtue of having a running account with Suresh, Suresh has fixed a maximum amount of 50,000 rupees. In such cases, Suresh will have priority over Michael. So this is also an exception to your section 48. Now let us come to the explanation part. The maximum amount is already fixed. Maximum amount is already fixed. And what is the maximum amount? That is, I told you the example, that is 50,000 rupees was the maximum amount. And he had taken a part of it. And it is a running account. Like you haven't bank's overdraft. This is the limit. And after that also we can draw. That is a running account. And only a part of the money which you have taken from the first person, from the first mortgagee. The other part is still remaining with the mortgagee. Subsequent a loan is also taken on the same property. On the same property, a loan is created. Balance amount is taken again from the first person, from whom you have taken the first charge, on whom the charge was created earlier. So in that cases, the rule of priority is an exception. It will become an exception to the rule of priority. So this is the explanation part for your 78 and 79 section. So by this, I wind up my session. Thank you.